Good morning, everybody. We are live, well, pretty much everywhere. Thank you for following along on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and everywhere else that you can find us. I am John Barchett along with Vince Quinn. You can text us as always, 215-509-5833. Jalen Hurts. The Eagles are in the playoffs. God bless this offensive line. Vince Quinn, there's so many things I want to say, but more importantly, we have made it to the playoffs. And the Eagles are there, and we're going to be talking about this team for a couple more weeks, which makes me very, very happy in the regular season. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Well, yeah, it's nice to see you come around, John. It's nice to see you back on the playoff bandwagon. It's been a couple of weeks, but you're right back where you should be, and the Eagles are right where they should be. And I think that's important to say. Like, for where this season started and where we thought this team was going to be, if you want to check the notes, if you want to go back and check it, I would tell you 10 wins and a playoff berth. That's where we were at before the season. That's where it is right now. They're right on track for it. It's a beautiful thing, man. It's such a beautiful thing to see the Eagles in this spot. So we're cruising, baby. Let's go.
Not only that, there's bonuses coming up too. Unfortunately, we got to sit through a stupid Saturday night football game at 8 o'clock, which probably doesn't matter, which is exactly why the NFL probably put it there in the first place. But we could be experiencing Carson Wentz and the Colts being bounced out simply by the Chargers or Raiders, I believe, winning on Sunday. There's draft picks to be determined that the Dolphins could actually help the Eagles in the long run as well, and we'll get to all that. But Vince nailed it on the head. I mean, we didn't predict how they got here. Certainly, that was rough. I mean, you all know the story. Vince was wearing a Lions hat at one point asking for the tank. I'm just saying they're not going to make the playoffs or the Giants loss. Yeah, there's that beautiful thing that he's posting up on the stream right now.
Still haven't.
Yeah, and if you're on the podcast, by the way, it looks like a really bad elementary school played Lions meme. So that's what we've been working with this entire season. Not only that, I mean, we started this podcast this year, and this podcast and this team kind of have felt the same way of just like really high highs, some pretty silly lows, and overall like positive results in the end because it's a great team, great chemistry, and had to Nick Sirianni and the entire crew, honestly, for creating that chemistry in a short amount of time. I guess we will all be on old takes exposed at some point during the season after we're making fun of the growing pains, the buds, the gardening, the blossoming of buds, and all this stuff, and it's finally here. And man, between that and just wanting to root for Jason Kelce for the rest of my life, like I am pretty jacked up to whatever this run ends up, even if it's just a kind of a one and done thing here. Just should be celebrating today in this week fully, man. And are you ready to say that Jalen Hurts has done enough here to be like, let's put Russell Wilson and everything aside? Like, I'm totally there right now. I don't need to see any other quarterbacks come in here.
No, I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's been amazing, and as far as this season could go, he's looked really good. At this point of the year, he's really progressed a good bit. But I mean, what is his ceiling? I still like looking at this team. This offensive line is something you can win with right now. So if you want to win right now, go do it. Like, go capitalize on that window. Be aggressive. Get a kind of quarterback that's never available. And if anything, Hurts' trade value is through the roof. This could be as high as it ever gets. I mean, 2 years left on a rookie deal, and what he could be worth. I mean, right now, let me spitball this, John.
Oh, man. We're celebrating the playoff. Coming up with scenarios of how to trade QB1. All right.
Yep, you asked
we'll
me,
move on
and this is what you get. This is what you get. Okay? It's getting to the point now where based on his value and how he's playing, you're getting into a conversation of not exactly Russ for Jalen Hurts straight up, but something close to that. I really believe it.
Man, I don't think so at all, first and foremost. And if it's just straight up value, you could swap quarterbacks, and that's how valuable Jalen Hurts is right now, then absolutely build around him. Build around him for 2 more years. You can stack this thing up. I just, from what this team has developed into to what I see progressing a lot faster than I even anticipated is Jalen Hurts' arm and his passing game, his accuracy, his anticipation, all of that. Like, he's still making dumb rookie mistakes. That's going to continue to happen. Probably going to continue to happen in the next year and a half. But what he's shown over the stretch against bad teams, whatever, I totally get that. But, I mean, we're looking at something pretty incredible. Almost 800 yards on the ground, accumulating all those touchdowns. The arm's coming into a place where it's not awful, and it is an NFL Gardner Minshew type of arm. The throw to your boy Greg Ward yesterday, the being down yet again and having a cool mindset about it. Half of the stadium collapsing on Jalen Hurts during the postgame. Very aware of what's going on, just stepping out to the side. Clear as day, clear as mind. And no matter what we have told this man, what we have said, what he needs to improve on, eyes forward, work to be done, 1% better, all those cliches that he has said throughout the season, he hasn't changed his mind once on any of that. Not once. And just an exclamation point of putting this team into the playoffs yesterday when you absolutely needed to win. The game itself was pretty much how every Eagles game has gone this season when they have a chance. Just sloppy. They turn it on in the second half. They did. And I think Hurts is one of the biggest reasons. And the first big reason is that Legion of Move, Bobby Dubs, which we'll get into as well. The offensive line played outstanding yesterday. They have all year. But I think Jalen Hurts can absolutely win this team a playoff game. No question about it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
This year he can absolutely do it. And I don't want to get too deep into the Russell rabbit hole today. It's really not about that today. We can argue about that some other time. But yeah, thinking about what Hurts has done, I mean, it really is impressive to think about a guy that a lot of people hated him the second he got drafted here because it was like, what are you doing? This pick makes no sense. This is bad for Wentz. Then there were the Wentz loyalists that didn't like Hurts once Wentz was gone and Hurts was going to be the guy. He had to fight supposedly Joe Flacco for the job. Like, they didn't hand it over to him. None of this was easy for Jalen Hurts. None of it. And the fact that he's played through all this with and Sirianni for all the success that he's had now where this team's been on the back half of the year, this team sucked. Like, he was doing a terrible job at the start of the year. So thinking about where all of this has progressed and what Hurts specifically has been able to work his way through the same way Steven's working through COVID, to be able to work his way through and be this level of successful where he's shown that he's somebody that belongs as a starter in the NFL. That is a really impressive thing. Like, you got to give this guy the credit, because without him, like you said, they don't make the playoffs. Gardner Minshew doesn't take this team to the playoffs. Say what you want. I know that crowd's out there. Gardner Minshew doesn't give you the production that Hurts does. Without his ability to run the ball, this team's dead in the water. So that lines up with the offensive line. It lines up with Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders and Boston Scott and all those guys. And you've got the best rushing attack in football. Like, it's a really amazing thing, and Hurts is at the center of that. So, yeah, give him his credit, man. Give him his credit.
And you're going to get your wish here, it looks like, too, Vince Quinn, as it's lining up. I mean, 45% chance that this ends up, you open with the Bucs as Antonio Brown takes off his shirt in the middle of a Jets game and gets cut in the middle of this thing, too. Finds an Uber home, which we got to talk about at some point towards the end here, because, the Cowboys play the Cardinals. Everybody's going, the Cowboys look like the worst playoff team this morning, which probably isn't true. I mean, like, I just feel like it's the tail end of the season. Everybody just wants to get to the end of the road here. So I'm not putting too much stock into this, but I mean, if you're going to face the Bucs, a Bucs team, a defending Super Bowl champion team at the right time, this is probably the right time. While it's semi in turmoil, it's kind of upside down. They're dealing with all these injuries. Eagles Bucs on a Saturday at probably 4:40 or something like that. I don't know if they put time on a Saturday, but I'm assuming it goes that way. You're going to get your wish, Vince. Should everyone be excited about that?
Yeah, and here's how crazy this whole season is, John. Like, I've been anti-Sirianni Coach of the Year. I think all that stuff's been ridiculous, and it's not exactly how the award works in this scenario, but Nick Sirianni could get his way into the NFC Championship game. I'm telling you, like, it's on the table now. Now that they're a playoff team, now that that's official, you look at Tampa Bay, that's a beatable team. Depending on how all of this shakes out, I mean, if you play Green Bay, you're probably going to lose to Green Bay in Green Bay. But if you're playing in some other scenario where you're traveling to, let's say, L.A. and you got to play the Rams, they can win that game. I mean, it's really possible here. So thinking about the fact that he could take the team that far, then my whole tune on Sirianni changes in a very major way. Now you've beaten two good teams on the road in the playoffs. It's a whole different experience. It's a whole different ballgame. So we'll see if we get there. But the fact that that's not like complete fantasy loony land is really amazing, man. I mean, and that's the thing, too. I want to give a shout out to Sirianni and Hurts and really this whole coaching staff together, because you think about the Eagles and
even Jonathan Gannon. A lot of people leave that out when they say this.
Yeah, on some level, Jonathan Gannon too. On some level,
right.
Look, the halftime adjustments for him are generally good, and he blitzes a little bit more in the second half lately. So yeah, like, I'll give him some of that. But you look at young football teams like this, they blow games all the time. Just dumb stuff. It's penalties, it's drop balls, it's fumbles. It's just no awareness of where the sideline is. Like, so many dumb things that can go wrong with a football team. And the Eagles don't do that stuff. Like, the teaching stuff, getting rid of the penalties at the beginning of the season and making them, like, hardly penalized at all has been super impressive. Super impressive. So those are the signs of a team that can win. They know how to win. They know what it looks like. They know what it feels like. And when you combine that veteran presence of guys like Lane Johnson and Kelsey and Fletcher Cox and Rodney McLeod and Darius Slay, and you mix it in with Sirianni and Hurts and the rest of this coaching staff and what they've been able to do, I mean, it's nothing short of incredibly impressive. So in terms of building blocks and where all this is going, like, yeah, it's exciting. Is he coach of the year right now? No, but he's shown that same way as Hurts that he belongs to starter. Sirianni's a coach in this league, and I'm really excited to see where he goes.
Yeah, it's I mean, the thing I think everyone should be excited about too, because of maybe your expectations, like we were talking about, are knee deep in 5 wins or 6 wins or 4 wins, and you couldn't really see yourself out of that. But like, the platform, the foundation in which this new Eagles era is going to start has so many flowers in bloom already that are semi-unexpected. Even if you thought Devontae Smith was going to be good, I mean, I even heard Vince Quinn on a live stream yesterday say something like he looks like a Hall of Famer. And I don't think that's crazy to say. He looks like it. Yeah, and in context of all that, let's see what happens with health and 5 years down the road and et cetera, et cetera. But, I mean, that is a marquee wide receiver that you just picked up. Landon Dickerson, again yesterday, shut I don't know how many linebackers on pulls, and it's hilarious to see his progression throughout the season as well. Like, this rookie class hitting is exactly what you needed. And not to leave out, we can even include Milton Williams in that as well, who has progressed very nicely for what he is and for all the Tom Donahue, Howie Roseman, we should have picked somebody else debacle. Like the first 3 picks of this draft were what I thought Sanders, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and Andre Dillard were going to be together. And that ship has seemed to sail. But this is kind of the rebirth of that. And it's so funny to even think back to when this immediately shifted gears. Vince even brought it up. Like, let's go back to there for a second. Let's go back to the Jalen Hurts being selected in all of that. Like, there was an immediate shift the moment that happened. And I've always thought this, Vince. You tell me if I'm wrong. I think that they have, despite the reports and everything out there, because there's always noise, they always chose Jalen Hurts. They always chose him. Once he was selected in the second round, do you remember what happened to the rest of that draft? Speed. First it was Rager, then it was him, all of their linemen, including Jack Driscoll, who's now here, unfortunately with injuries. Speed. And they shifted the way that they drafted the moment that happened. Now they did it again in year 2 and had even more positive results without Carson Wentz. Like, I know that we've been, trust me, I don't think that there was ever an opportunity to swap out quarterbacks that Howie Roseman would have said no, but because the way that they've built this thing, how they've built, and Jalen has progressed to where he's at, I think they built this for Jalen. Let's see if he can go take the keys, and then to your point, if he can't, well, it's ready for the next quarterback, and that's where we are. It's pretty insane to go back to there. 2 drafts later, you're in the playoffs, you have what looks like a franchise quarterback, and you have so much cap room again to load up in 2022 and more draft picks to fill the rest of this roster out, man. I don't know how you couldn't be more excited and how you think this wasn't potentially planned for Jalen Hurts as the successor. Like, well, that's what I'm thinking this morning.
Yeah, see, it left the door. I mean, obviously they believed in him as a talent and wanted to give him a shot, but one of the things is his arm strength is more of the bigger concern for him as a passer. Like, Wentz had the arm and liked throwing it deep to a fault at times. So for that, I think part of it was you built with Wentz, and now Hurts just happens to be the guy, and that's just who they want to be. It's an organizational philosophy thing to me more than anything. But thinking about Hurts and where this team is and where everything's going, man, I mean, like, the chemistry is through the roof. It's really important to state. Like, we talked about this and talking about being right about talking about this team and making the playoffs and 10 wins and all that kind of stuff. This is what we talked about before the season. I mean, all these guys were saying, like, yeah, we love talking about ball with coach and all. And it was like, wait, nobody calls it ball. And like, this isn't basketball or anything. Like, he's calling it ball all the time. All right, that's a little weird. Then Jalen Hurts has the rent is due hat. And you know who's making that hat? It's Rodney McLeod. And other guys on the team are wearing it. And you see Jason Kelce supporting Lane Johnson with all the stuff that he's going through. You see everybody picking up Greg Ward when he gets the touchdown a couple of weeks ago. I mean, the chemistry on this team is real, man.
It's unbelievable.
It's very real. I'm
going to say something. I'm going to say something stupid. It's better than 2017's chemistry.
Ooh,
it's better. The talent isn't there, but I'm saying the chemistry is 10 times better because it's younger. It doesn't have to deal with a locker room split between 3 or 4 people. We can be honest about that now with Alshon and Foles and all that other stuff. Like, yeah, that team in general, no one was beating them, and it kind of has this. I give a ton of credit to Jason Kelce for keeping it that way, along with Coach too. Like, it just feels they go, you know what? I mean, be honest with me. Doesn't it sound like the speech from Major League? I felt that way when I saw that Jason Kelce speech last week. Did you see that speech?
Yeah, I did see the speech. It was amazing.
The line in there that's grabbing everybody, that should continue to grab everybody, is we are so much fucking better than we believe we are. And that is a powerful line. And all you line all that other stuff up with, like, this might be my only shot. And for some of you younger guys, it might be your only time. Let's go fucking win. And that's like, they're like, yep. And everyone's dialed into that. So that's why I think we can get a little bit excited about winning a playoff game. Beating the Bucks, beating the Cowboys, the Cardinals, whoever it is. I truly do believe they can go on a run in the sloppiest fucking way possible. It's not going to be pretty at all, but I do believe they can go on a tiny little run. Like, could they get to the NFC Championship game? Yes. Yes, they can. There is a path to do that. Yes. It's going to be incredible. Nothing is a cakewalk here. Obviously, it's the playoffs. It's this team. But could I see them? Yes, exactly, buddy. Put that sunflower hat on. It is blooming in here. Blooming. They could absolutely, this could be the McNabb 0-1 run to the Rams, and like to start there and to build on and go get a fucking Allen Robinson and go get some bodies in here and just go get me a guy that can go make a play along with Dallas Goedert, and we'll get into him too. My goodness. But man, I just feel great about where this team is at, where it's heading, and we can celebrate this thing. I'm so pumped.
Yeah. So talking about getting weapons, John. Antonio Brown.
Oh. No. Oh no, thank you.
Don't answer that question. Don't answer that question. The answer is I would rather die. I would rather physically be stabbed in the heart than see Antonio Brown on this team. Thank you very much. Do not ask that question. You will be banned.
Yes.
But otherwise, I mean, like that, because now the funny thing about all of this, and you kind of touched on it, is they moved this game to Saturday. Coming up this week against Dallas. And it's weird because initially, we talked about this maybe 2 weeks ago on the show, and it was like, I really want to see that Dallas game because, if the Eagles need that game and Dallas is playing for something, that's a really good measuring stick going into the playoffs, and I can't imagine that's happening now. This game's going to be strange, but if Gardner Minshew, and this is the one thing that I'm interested in, is if for some godforsaken reason that Gardner Minshew can win that game, and the Eagles can get the 6th seed, they can win their game, and whoever's the 7th seed can win their game. We can dodge the Packers, which is, again, that's the NFC Championship game formula right there. I mean, you dodge the Packers, you see them in the NFC Championship game, and you figure it out from there. You probably lose.
All right, I'm going to say another dumb thing, Vince Quinn.
All right, yes,
not
let's go.
Scared of the Packers at all. Scared of the Packers at all. Because it's the same. It's the same. I mean, they're going to probably beat the Eagles. Let me just say that. But I wouldn't be scared walking into Lambeau and being like, got to run against this team. You just saw Sean Mannion last night for a little bit in his dumb, stupid 6'6" javelin throwing ass, and handing off to Dalvin Cook would have worked if it was this offensive line. It's the same problem that they have. It's it can stop the pass phenomenally. But I would love to walk into Green Bay, slow the game down for Aaron Rodgers, and go and do that. I think that'd be hilariously fun. Anyway.
No, it would totally be fun.
But missing them is better too.
Douglas is on that team, so yeah, you want to dodge him as much as you can. But I guess thinking about Saturday, I mean, this kind of feels like the Washington scenario we talked about a couple of weeks ago with all the COVID cases and get some guys out of this game. It's just who do you sit? I feel like Howard's got to be. I would sit Howard and Sanders if either of them can play. I think you sit Hurts.
Oh, yeah.
I'd sit Devontae Smith, frankly. Yep. I don't care. I'd be like, Gardner, here you go. This is your chance. You get Quez Watkins, Jalen Reagor. Good luck. It's just a practice squad game, basically.
Everyone gets a quarter, I think, and then shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really isn't. I mean, you are not going to improve much of anything. The only thing you really improve on is if San Francisco or whoever that 7th seed is or 6th seeds goes on a wild run, and then you would have home field advantage maybe for the NFC Championship game, but that's the only time it really matters. You gotta just sit everybody and make everyone healthy, because this is the second. Technically, you don't have to play 8 or 17 games this year, and you should take that. Yeah, and that's a whole different factor in which we haven't. This is the longest season of all time. We are witnessing the first longest season of all time in the NFL, and we're all part of history. So
yeah, and for the Eagles, the lack of rest since the bye, right? You think about the Washington game and how that screwed all this up, and now you get another game that's bumped up to a Saturday night, so that's a little weird. Plus, when you're playing Dallas here this week, Dallas won. They just lost Michael Gallup for the season, so
that's huge.
So he just tore his ACL. They're going to be a little sensitive because of that. And then there's a chance you play each other next week. Why are you going to do anything in this game? For either team, honestly. I don't even know why you try. This is the most, oh, no, you take it. Oh, no, you take it. We're just, it's going to be such a waste of everybody's time. This game's going to be awful.
Yeah, and especially if there's draft tiebreakers, too. Just stay ahead of them in any way that you can. Saturday, and Steven was even asking about it. Obviously, no, that's a big no. Do you play all the starters on Saturday? Just give everybody a quarter at most, and just chill out for a little bit. Also, a great way to chill out just in general, and they've done a phenomenal job all year, especially hydrating us and hydrating you at the bar, the Henry James Saloon, and we appreciate you guys being out there for that. But Liquid Death, the best water in a can. It's 16.9 ounces with the flaming skulls. You can see their awesome logo in the top, what is that, right-hand corner of the broadcast if you're looking at that. But if you're on the podcast, you know exactly how it feels, it tastes, it touches, because you've been going to liquiddeath.com/bell to support this podcast, and a phenomenal water product which is infinitely recyclable to a point where, you know, you're not throwing all those plastic stupid bottles, water bottles that are ripping you off, first of all, and secondly, destroying the earth at every corner that it can. So we love Mike and everybody else over there at Liquid Death for hydrating us all season. And it's one of the best ways you can go support the podcast. So again, just go to liquiddeath.com/bell and you get free shipping on every case that you order from Liquid Death. And that is going to, I think, save you somewhere around, like, you know, if you were to order a case a week, I'm just saying, that saves you about like $20 or $30, I think, for the month overall, maybe even less than that. But great way to support your mouth with water, and a great way to support us as well, liquiddeath.com/bell. I would like to touch on the game a little bit here, Vince, because I did think it was hilarious that Ron Rivera, I still believe that was a soft tank. You know, like who challenges for 3 yards? Who challenges, other than Doug Peterson? Who challenges
I don't know.
For 3 yards in the beginning of a game and just wasting time out like that? The clock management, I mean, Ron's been really bad with clock management his entire career. We can admit that. But that bad? It was pretty bad yesterday.
It was really bad, man. I mean, they handed the Eagles the game, dude, because think about it. Like, going into the end of the first half, they have this drive where it's like, oh, we're just going to waste all this time, and they're running the ball. And they had 3 timeouts or 2 timeouts, and they didn't use them. And then they were like, oh, we got a couple of first downs. Let's try all of a sudden. And then they get themselves into field goal range, manage the clock terribly, and cost themselves a couple of yards, and end up kicking the ball and whatever. If they hit a touchdown there, they could have won the game with a field goal at the end of the game. Like, they just blew it. I mean, it was just dumb football. So thank you, Ron, for that. It was excellent work by him, and the future of Washington clearly very bright. Between him and Mike McCarthy and Joe Judge, like, great week for NFC East coaches, I gotta say. Just a great week overall for all of those guys. Joe Judge has the rant. You've got Mike McCarthy blowing stuff, so it's a beautiful thing. But here's my favorite thing from the game was the Dallas Goedert play. The Dallas Goedert play where he hits the kicking net, and he's like, whoa, don't want to knock that over, whoa. And then it's like, oh, no, here's a table. And then he's rolling over the table, and he hits the ground, and he stands up immediately and just goes, bam, first down. It was like, this is the most ridiculous, nonsensical play I've ever seen in my life. And for that to happen to the Eagles this season with Dallas Goedert is the most Eagles play that's happened all year. That was the #1 Eagles play of the season. I don't care about anything else, Darius Slay touchdowns or anything like that. That was the play of the year because none of this season makes sense. It's been all over the place. And at the same time, it all ended up exactly where we thought it would be. Yeah. It's all good. But it was just a wild ride, man.
It was like he was on roller skates with like a bowl full of spaghetti sauce and like dumped it all over himself. Essentially, it's like, yep, no, I meant to do all that. First down.
Yeah, he like goes through a dry cleaner on the roller skates or car wash, and he comes out, the shirt's clean, or he's got nicer clothes on. Like it just didn't make any sense.
Unbelievable.
It was awesome. I love that play.
My from yesterday, I would the whole by the way, like cameraman Ricky Seals Jones, everybody okay there? Good Lord.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, the huge collision yesterday from that. Man, like I the one thing I just have down in my notes, and I'm sure Baldy's all over this morning too, is just so sharp and decisive from Jalen Hurts. Especially in the second half, like in terms of just we're constantly critiquing him in the passing game. And yesterday, I mean, there wasn't much as Vince is getting. Did you get your sunflower stuck in your headphones? It's amazing.
The sunflower stuck in my headphones. It got annoying. It was like rubbing on my chin, and it kind of hurt. And it was like, all right, I'm good. Ultimately, this is a podcast.
Yeah. There you go.
As much as we're doing some YouTube stuff, the visuals are secondary. And my face hurts. So wait,
there you go.
All right, we
there
did
you go.
We nailed it.
Fantastic move there. Just as much as I even probably have to say another apology to like Shane Steichen and a bunch of others. It just feels as though this offense is understanding exactly what it needs to be. Jalen Hurts is, I think, the reason why that is, and his growth is the reason why that is. Not necessarily like the playbook and everything else that is, starting to branch out here in the last couple of weeks of the season. So I didn't know what you thought over that. I actually thought like that was probably the best in terms of creativity, timing, play calling, and like really playing to the strengths of what you have offensively to your roster. Yesterday was probably the best I've ever seen it all together. Not in terms of execution, but in terms of delivery, ideas, and blah blah blah, all that stuff is.
Yeah, well, the second half definitely. I mean, the first half is just it's the same stuff with the Eagles, man. They don't have it figured out. Jordan Howard was a little slow this week, and then the second half he got a little bit better, and the holes were a little bit better, and all that kind of stuff. Like it just kind of takes time. Sometimes I think it's when they're going against a good front, it takes them a while to like kind of beat that team up and wear them down a little bit to create that space, because we're used to like 7 yards a carry. You know what I mean? Like it's like college numbers that these guys are putting up. So it takes a little bit, but yeah, second half they figured things out. It got a little bit better. More people were getting involved. Everything was fine. Like the tight end screen to Goddard at the beginning of the second half was like, yep, this is exactly what you should be doing. And what do you know? It works and they get some yardage. So loved seeing all of that stuff. And then just you look at Boston Scott and just, my God, man, Boston Scott is like, how does he do it again? You know what I mean? Like he just every week it's always like, Boston Scott, he doesn't matter. Who cares? Fringe roster guy, whatever. He's small, whatever. And then he's always like, nope, here's 3 touchdowns and like fun spinning drives past defenders for 5 extra yards. And like, he's just so much fun to watch. I love Boston Scott, man. That guy's a hero. He's an absolute hero.
I love him because he scores touchdowns, unlike Miles Sanders. So yes, I thought that was very impressive from him once again. I'm just saying, broken arm and all. I apologize, but it's just and Jordan Howard, what I will say, the only huge critique was in that the first quarter when they're going for it, and it was the right call. I really loved. I forgot what you call them. What are the big cheese Italian cheese balls? What do you call them?
Mozzarella?
No, the like archinis or something like that. Someone can correct me there, but that's the type of balls that Nick Sirianni had yesterday. Like to be able to be like, we got shut out on 4th down, and by the way, my bad for running Jordan Howard on 4th and 2. What an idiot! Shotgun is like cold off the. I thought that was one of the worst calls of all time, but. Just to keep with it, and I know there was a lot of people, including Barney out there in the live stream, were saying, hey, kick that field goal, and they were like, absolutely not. If they did, they would have lost the game. So I thought that was one of the bigger turning points. And even though I think that decision actually cost them 3 points in the end to go for it in the first quarter there, but
yeah,
that's something you're going to need for the playoffs. And the other thing that everybody was absolutely 100% wrong about was running the football, and it still is. And I'm so glad that I said that on the last episode, because yesterday was pass-driven scoring. Pass-driven scoring, because you didn't have Miles Sanders, and Jordan Howard was banged up. So you did have to go to Jalen Hurts there. And in not a 35 attempts type of scenario, but he's the reason why they don't have touchdowns, and the same reason why they do as well. I mean, like the 22-yard scramble, all that other stuff. But guys, this is exactly what they needed to do heading towards the playoffs, was find that passing game rhythm. They have, and I guess that's why I'm more excited than anything for this playoff run. That's new to everybody on film. Like they know what they do on during the run, but there's some slightly new passing concepts that they haven't really unleashed, and sure, the bread and butter is still there. And more importantly, like you were pointing out, Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert's chemistry has also blossomed during this, even if it's simple screens or finding, that's your new best friend, or that's your second new best friend. Love to see it. Jalen checking calls, feeling like he's got the offense, all this stuff I think is phenomenal timing. That's why I feel they could create a little sizzle in the playoffs. The passing game, Vince. The passing game.
Yeah. Now, by the way, John, one of the things that I will now guarantee is going to happen in a playoff game, Darius Slay's catching a pass. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. Like you saw him again. They did it again. They did the same motion again, and they hit Dallas Goedert. So for them to be setting this up, like clearly they want the Slay play, and I can't wait to see what it actually is when they do it. So very excited for all of that. That's a pretty awesome thing. Now I got something I want to do real quick. So
Ooh.
I know we had we had all those Madden cards, by the way. So last week, if you didn't realize this, if you missed the show on Friday, we had John Madden Eagles football cards. So Matt Maratea with the newsletter. He picked all those cards up. So shout out to Matt first off. But
thank you, Matt.
He gave 3 away on the text line. So what I want to do is I found one of those like random name. It puts the names on a wheel digitally, and then you click spin, and it spins. And so I did that with all the people that submitted on the text line. You had to send "boom" in all caps to the text line at 215-509-5833. So we have 3 winners, John, and then there's a little extra little something after this. But our
I like
3
this.
winners. So congratulations to Alex. Congratulations to Vansh, Vansh. I'm sorry, I add that to my list, John, for mispronounced names.
Wait,
And
what
Ryan.
was VA? What?
Vansh. Vansh, I want to say.
Vanesh.
Vanesh?
Vinesh. Yes, I
Okay.
believe. I believe.
All right.
And I'm glad you brought him up. Keep continuing on, my friend.
All right. So what also turns out, John, is we have one other card that we're now going to give away on the text line. So we have one John Madden Eagles card left. And if you want it, 215-509-5833. That's our text line. And again, we'll use the same code word. And for the people who lost, I'll keep you in the running. Boom! Boom! BOOM. If you don't know how to spell boom for some reason, 215-509-5833. And we'll do that drawing during the week. So sign up for that. Sign up for that. John Madden Eagles card. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's when he played tackle with the Eagles, he was, I think, just there for 2 years, and that was the end of his.
And he was injured the
career
whole
as a
time. I
player.
don't even know if he actually played a snap, and the
Yeah.
injuries were just bad. And, also it was the 50s, so I would figure the surgeries and all weren't nearly as good as they
No.
are today. They definitely weren't. So who knows what would have happened if that kind of injury happened to him today. But, yeah, he never really played.
Shout out to Vinesh one more time as well, because I believe that user, and we saw this on Sunday, owe you a big thank you for donating to the Bird Fund at bellandthebirdmen.com. I just want to let you know, Vinesh, this is, we'll have to look into Square for this as well. It did double charge you. So originally it was 10 that you submitted, but it slid it up to 20. And Vince and I are very happy to return that 10 if that's what you need. However, I just want to let you know, with that $20 donation, you have qualified to be the person that says, Taylor, hit the music at the beginning of the podcast, which Vince Quinn does all the time. So if you want to hold on to that, you are welcome to do the video. And either way, you should say that and send it to us anyway. Do so at bellbird.com and send us an email through there. And we would love for you to say, Taylor, hit the music on the next available podcast that is there. And if you are curious on how to do that or become one of the Bell and the Birdmen members, just go to bellandthebirdmen.com, as Vince and I are very excited to put together Ben's Dallas Sucks video, because it is Dallas week, and we're going to send that to a bunch of, just one of his friends with many drafts in session. Jirius is very excited in the background as well. So we appreciate everybody that has supported this podcast, this live stream in any capacity, whether that's helping us out on Spotify or Apple Pods and giving us 5 stars, whether it's going to liquiddeath.com and ordering yourself some lovely water, or simply going to bellandthebirdmen.com and following along on social and doing all that fun stuff. We really appreciate it, guys. Can't thank you enough. And Vince, I'll leave you with the final word here on a glorious, glorious playoff bound week. We will be back Thursday, because we'll just use that as our big picture Tuesday, as it's got a little crazy around here with all of the playoff intentions here. So Vince, where are we heading from here, my friend?
John, we're heading to one word. Eagles. Eagles. Let's go, baby.
I love it. I love it. Nothing but pump ups. Like we basically have a bye week to pump up for the playoffs. I look forward to that. We'll see you guys. Well, I don't know about bright and early, but definitely on Thursday. And we'll be in studio a whole bunch to talk about. And can't wait for the quotes. Can't wait, Alice. And more importantly, can't wait to finally find out who these Eagles are playing, especially if it's Tom Brady in round one. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.